Bayside High? Hey, it's just a typical school.
With typical teachers.
And very normal students.
Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to episode number 11 of Trax Saturday Mornings. I'm Alex Vanover from the Trax Network, and this morning I have the great responsibility and the pleasure of reviewing and deep diving a TV show that was very near and dear to me as a child, and was probably one of the first TV shows I got into that wasn't a cartoon. And in case you're blind and you can't see the background, I'm talking about Saved by the Bell. Today's episode is called House Party, and this is a famous episode because they kind of do, Zach, Slater, and Screech do the risky business dance in Screech's house. They have the glasses on, the 90s themed glasses, the tank tops and all that stuff, and they're dancing and sliding into the living room and stuff. So iconic episode, iconic scene. I thought no better episode to start off our Saved by the Bell deep dive with than this episode. This episode's air date was October 6th, 1990. It's season 2, episode 5. So season 2 was when Saved by the Bell really started to kind of gain their footing and get some traction. They're getting further and further from the junior high Miss Bliss episodes. They're starting to kind of like become a phenomenon almost. They were syndicated at this point, I believe. They were in reruns a lot, but they were an interesting show because it was like live action on Saturday morning. It was kids, like actual kids, not cartoons, on a weekly episodic journey. It was a totally new format. Teen NBC is what they called it. They were the first teen NBC show. Hang Time, California Dreams, City Guys, all those shows. I watched all those shows, but Saved by the Bell was the OG. They started it all. And they definitely need more credit than they get nowadays because it's totally cutting edge. It was way before its time. It was directed by a guy named Don Barnhart. He directed on Hang Time, Saved by the Bell, The New Class, California Dreams, USA High. He did an episode of Full House. Mork and Mindy, which was a show that kind of launched Robin Williams into the stratosphere before he became a movie star. Benson, that was a huge show. And he also directed the special Saved by the Bell Hawaiian Style, which I think was what the special that kind of bridged between junior and senior year for the kids at Bayside. I always really liked that episode. I think it has the guy from Son-in-Law, and he was also Chip from Friends. Got a lipper from Chipper. And I think it's him, and I can't stand him. He's also in Teen Witch. Always plays a smarmy kind of son of a bitch, and he does a great job. I don't really like the guy very much. But Don Barnhart did a lot of stuff that I enjoyed as a kid. This guy is a legend. One of the writers on this episode was Sam Bobrick. He wrote for Get Smart, Saved by the Bell, obviously, Saved by the Bell, The College Years, and The Andy Griffith Show. And I don't know if a lot of you Slashaholics know, but The Andy Griffith Show is one of my favorite shows of all time. I just love Don Knotts. And I think Andy Griffith is like the ultimate straight man. And when he wants to be funny, he's also very funny. But Andy Griffith still holds up to this day. I love Andy Griffith. That's a great show. So on October 6, 1990, it was a Saturday. This was 33 years and 11 months ago. So holy crap. I think I was in, what was I, 7 or 8. So I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. The number one song on the radio was Close to You by Maxi Priest. I don't remember the song, and I don't remember Maxi Priest, so we might have to Google that after the show. If any of you Slashaholics remember who Maxi Priest is, leave a comment down below. Did you like that song? It was number 1 at this point. George Bush Sr. was president. Gas was $1.15 a gallon. Milk, a gallon of milk was $1.79, and a dozen eggs was $1.01. I think a dozen eggs now, you need to have a mortgage or a loan from a credit union now to get a dozen eggs. It's incredibly expensive. Groceries are crazy. Let's get into let's start the show. How shall we? All right, the show starts out at Screech's house, and we haven't really been to Screech's house that much in the series at this point. Only when he was tutoring Kelly, I believe, in season 1, and she started to fall in love with him, believe it or not. And then he had a robot named Kevin, but he's not in this episode, so probably could have used Kevin in this episode to be the voice of reason when Zach starts pulling some of his bullshit with Screech's possessions, house, and belongings. Zach shows up, and he's super excited that Screech's parents are leaving Screech the house for the weekend. Zach starts messing around with an Elvis statue that Screech's mom has, and she cherishes, and it's over there on the mantle. Screech's mom shows up. She says she'd die if the statue got broke, and that's when Zach almost dropped it. So Zach is kind of playing with it, and he almost drops it. So Screech's mom, they're kind of setting up the plot in the very first scene. She says she'll die if anything happens to that statue. So there you go, foreshadowing at its best. We find out that Screech's dog is named Hound Dog, and Screech's parents are going on their anniversary weekend to Graceland, so they're huge Elvis fans. Screech's mom also leaves a list of like hundreds and hundreds of things. It's like like a scroll almost of like things he can't do and that he has to do while they're away. Rule number 137 is no parties. This list is longer than Chris Jericho's lists of wrestling holds that he read off in the ring on that one Monday Nitro episode. A super, super funny bit he did there. We go to the high school the next day. We're at Bayside. The girls want to go to the movies, but the guys say they can't. It's a guys' night in. So the girls are kind of like, oh, damn it. Now we go over to a young Tori Spelling who's playing Violet. She's like a nerdy girl, but she's still very pretty. So she kind of looks like the girl from She's All That. I'm surprised they didn't put any paint on her overalls.
Guys, she's got glasses and a ponytail. Oh, look at that. She's got paint on her overalls. What is that? Guys, there's no way she could be prom queen.
Violet shows up. She compliments Screech from his earlier presentation in science class on the mating habits of worms. So, to each their own, different strokes for different folks, okay? Violet's 33-year-old boyfriend, at least he looks 33 years old at this point, Maxwell, shows up, and he cock blocks Violet. I don't know if it's cock blocking when she's your girlfriend, but he's very rude and short with her, and he kind of snaps his finger. He's mean to her. He commands her to stop talking to her, stop talking to Screech. So, ultimately a cock blocker. Jesse tries to put Maxwell in his place and gets essayed immediately by Maxwell. So he kisses her. They're not dating. They're not friends. He just starts kissing her. So that's a felony, brother. You're out of the school. We don't have to worry about Maxwell anymore. The episode's over. So the villain's gone. On that note, that great note of Maxwell doing some dirty deeds with Jesse, let's go to a commercial break right now.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Come on, Liz, pick out your cereal and let's get going.
Coming! Oh no, that kid took the last box of Kellogg's Corn Pops. Stay calm. Sir, you're out of Corn Pops.
Liz, just pick something.
Pick something? I want my Corn Pops. Oh, I could be at home eating all the Pops I want, but I'm stuck in the woods on some stupid family vacation, and that little weasel took the last box. Ah!
Nice day.
Yes, I love the woods.
Kellogg's Corn Pops is part of this complete breakfast.
I gotta have my Pops. Back to the show.
I love this commercial, and I want to have some Corn Pops really bad because I got to have my Pops, dog. That commercial just screams early 90s. And if you don't notice her, Slashaholics, that girl was the main girl in the movie, Fred Savage Nintendo movie, The Wizard. So I've seen her in a bunch of stuff. She's underrated 90s girl character in a lot of stuff I like. Okay, so where are we at now? Let's catch our bearings back at Bayside here. Violet and Jesse show up to the Max, so this is the very next scene after Jesse was kissed by Maxwell, and Violet declares that she just dumped Maxwell, and everybody's excited. Duh, she should have dumped him earlier because didn't her boyfriend, who's mean to her but she's still dating him, just kiss Jesse? So Violet's hanging out with Jesse? No jealousy at all. I don't know. There's trouble in paradise here, and it's not Kofi Kingston's finishing move, okay? So, yeah, they should have been broke up anyway. Maxwell's essaying girls in the halls of Bayside. This is not going to work. The girls decide to skip the movie that they wanted to go to with the boys, and the boys said they didn't want to go because they were having guys' night in. And then they're gonna actually all, including Violet, so Jesse, Lisa, Kelly, and Violet, they're all going to Screech's house to spy on the boys. Okay, so cue the boys doing their iconic risky business dance and slide into the living room, the homage to Tom Cruise, to the Beach Boys' Bob Bob or Ann, which isn't the Beach Boys. So that's interesting. They must not have been able to pay for the actual rights to the Beach Boys song. So it sounds like when JDF wasn't able to dub the lines in the Green with Evil episode 5 when they were talking in the Zords. It's a little interesting. How did they get inside the house? How did the boys not know that they were coming in the house? They're not drinking or anything. They're cognizant of what's going on. The girls are just in the living room now watching them, laughing, having a good old time. That's breaking and entering. We got a lot of felonies happening in the very first 5-6 minutes of this episode. The girls are making fun of the boys. They're dancing around, and lo and behold, they break the freaking Elvis statue that Screech's mom said if anything happened to it, she would die. So we got to make sure Screech's mom isn't dead right now. Screech immediately has a daydream about his mom actually dying from the statue breaking. He's going through it. He's going through it bad. Belding shows up as Elvis in his daydream and ultimately forgives Screech, okay? But in the daydream, I believe that his mom is dead, and she's in full Elvis outfit, and she's basically saying, you broke the statue, I'm dead now. Zach and the gang vow to find another statue for Screech. They don't know how, but they're going to do it, okay? Screech finds out during all this mayhem with the statue breaking, and they're trying to figure out what's going to happen. Zach is coming up with another one of his ridiculous schemes. Screech finds out that Violet dumped Maxwell. So there's a silver lining to all this nonsense. Lisa's kind of like the shopaholic. She's like the mall person. The mall was huge back in the day. Slashaholics back in the 90s. You didn't just have Amazon. There was a physical place you'd actually go to where you do your shopping. You could actually try on your clothes before they were mailed to you. Yeah, it was called the mall, and it was awesome. Okay, so Lisa actually helped out with Zach's new scheme. She found a replacement statue, Slashaholics, but it's $250. So there's the number we need, boys and girls. Later on, Maxwell, we're back at the school. Maxwell tries to boss Violet around again. They're not dating, but he's still kind of doing his weird crap. But she rebukes him. Good for you, Tori Spelling. Good for you. Zach decides to take $250 out of Maxwell's ass after seeing this. We cut to Maxwell dominating everyone at Screech's house at poker. So Zach's plan is not really working. And meanwhile, Maxwell will not stop hitting on Jesse. So the fact that he forced himself on her earlier in the show wasn't enough. He's doubling down on it, not just in poker, but in real life. Zach deals himself a great hand and has zero poker face. So he's got a good hand. He dealt himself a good hand. He's letting Maxwell know he has a good hand, which is ridiculous because he's almost down to 0 chips. He should probably pretend like he has nothing, but he's an idiot. Maxwell immediately calls and raises another $50. So Zach bet all the chips he had remaining, which was $10. Maxwell calls it, raises another $50. Zach has no money to call and puts up Screech's dog, Hound Dog, as collateral because the dog's worth, more than $250. And Maxwell puts up all his chips, which are like $250, coincidentally. And now we have the standoff. They're both going to show their cards. Zach has 4 frickin' queens, which is basically unbeatable. But guess what, Slashaholics? Maxwell has 4 kings. Maxwell leaves with all the money and the dog. The only thing he didn't leave with at this point was Jessie, and I'm surprised Zach didn't raise her too. Because this isn't Zach's first attempt at using his friends as bait or collateral or for a profit. Didn't he have an episode earlier or later on in the series where he was trying to get money for Lisa because she spent too much money on her dad's credit card? She had to kiss people, so he's like pimping her out, kind of. I don't know. Zach's got a very bad history with this kind of stuff. Screech at this point, now the dog's gone. He lost all his money. The statue's broke. Screech has basically gone catatonic. We're sending him to the Bayside loony bin. He's lost his mind. He's saying nothing. He's like this. Yeah, he's got to snap out of it. While Screech is busy losing his mind, let's go to another commercial break.
After the messages, we'll be right back.
If you met Zach,
How you doing?
what's the first thing you'd say? Can I have your autograph? Wow, there it is. He's so cute. What if you met Slater? I'd ask for his autograph, too.
Why not?
But if I met Jesse and Kelly, I met Jesse and Kelly, I'd see if they wanted to go to the mall. Then I'd ask for their autographs.
Saved by the Bell Dolls with yearbook and real autograph stamp, each sold separately. New from Time.
And now, back to the show.
All right. Screech's mom calls to check in. She wants to talk to Hound Dog. So Zach pretends to be Hound Dog. He's using his a dog voice. And then he eventually just uses his own voice and speaks in English clearly as a dog. Screech's mom's confused but still buys it. Screech's mom makes Screech feel even worse by saying, "It's so wonderful that I have such a trustworthy son. Like, I can trust you to not screw anything up at the house." Meanwhile, Screech has basically almost lost everything except the house at this point. It's pretty much Zach's fault, though. Maybe the girl's fault for coming over, not uninvited, breaking in and breaking they broke two things. They broke in and then they broke the Elvis statue. The next day, we're at Bayside. Slater confronts Maxwell in the locker room. Maxwell, though, has a nerd-proof bully alarm because Maxwell's got money, and the bully alarm starts going off. Mr. Belding, the principal, comes in, catches Slater in the act of holding Maxwell in the air. Maxwell decides to cover for Slater and Zach, though, and Maxwell says, "Listen, I want to swap the dog for a date with lips." Or legs. He says legs. I want to swap the hound dog for a date with legs because she's really tall and Maxwell's really short. Zach and Slater, yeah, no problem. We'll figure it out. No problem. We'll get you a date with our friend who does not like you. You're a slime ball. But we're going to use her like another female again in a plot to better our own situation. And isn't Slater like involved with Jesse at this point? Like, they're on and off dating at this point. I don't know how Slater's so cool with this. We go to the Max. The next scene, Zach is planning a party at Screech's house. So we're going to have another party and maybe screw more stuff up. But it's going to cost $10 a head. And he also informs Jesse about the date for the dog situation. Jesse is not having it. She doesn't want to have anything to do with this crap. But she begrudgingly goes along because Zach and Slater manipulate and guilt her into it. So Zach is leaving emotional wreckage and turmoil all over the halls of Bayside and the hallowed grounds of the Max and Screech's house. Maxwell and Jesse show up to the party later that night, but Maxwell has a friend watching the dog outside, so he's not bringing the dog with him immediately because Jesse will just leave him as soon as they walk in the room and the dog is handed over to Screech. No. Maxwell has a plan. This is like the Breaking Bad situation where he has Jesse's friends with laser pointers, like the very last episode, watching over him, to make sure that they send the money to his family correctly and they don't just, blow the whistle. Yeah, Maxwell has a situation kind of like that. He has nerds watching the dog and they're outside and they're not going to hand over the dog until 10 o'clock. Okay, so it's got to be a full date. And this is to ensure that Jesse doesn't bolt. All right, but we got some good news. They raised enough money for the new statue, so they have the $250 after Maxwell hands them $20 more. 10 p.m. strikes. Maxwell declares it ends. The date actually only ends with a kiss. They make Maxwell close his eyes while Jesse comes over with her lips puckered, and he actually ends up kissing the dog. Screech throws out Maxwell and makes out with Violet. So Screech is kind of the man here. He's not a nerd at this point. Makes out with Violet, Maxwell's ex-girlfriend, right in front of him. He made Maxwell kiss his dog, tells him he kissed his dog, throws him out of the house, has his dog back. He's getting the statue back. Screech's mom arrives early, though. Record, Screech at this point. Not Screech, that's not a pun. The record screeches. And Zach declares the party is actually an anniversary party to cover up for the fact that they're having a party, and in rule number 137, nobody over, no parties. His mom buys it. Slater shows up like 2 seconds later with the new statue. He trips and falls on the stairs. Statue's up in the air. Like, it's like slow-mo situation, gliding through the air. Zach actually goes all out, like Willie Mays in the frickin' 1954 World Series, and Randy Moss is that son of a bitch. Catches it, falls down in the end zone, saves the statue, puts it back on the mantle. Game over. Bayside Tigers win. Screech's mom has no freaking clue, so Screech lied to his mom. So I don't know if this is a good moral of the story, but he got away with all the crap he pulled. And then they all party down as the credits roll. So that's the end of the episode. Pretty solid episode. A lot of lying, a lot of felonies, a lot of manipulation, a lot of not good moral behavior in this episode, but I love Saved by the Bell, so I'm going to overlook all of it. Did I like the plot of this episode? Yes, I did. Looking at it as an older man, though, it's, you know, hokey and everything, but I like that about it. Do I like? Yeah, I like the plot. It's pretty solid for Saved by the Bell. They didn't have a lot of super serious episodes. They had one where they went out drinking and driving, and that was pretty deep. But this is pretty surface level stuff, and I think it's pretty good. It leaves a lot of opportunities for laughs. I love that Maxwell had a bully, a nerd protecting unit, like a surveillance system on his belt. I like that. That's funny. Maxwell, the guy who played him, is underrated. He steals every scene he's in. I need to do a deep dive on who that guy was, because I don't think this is the only episode he's been in, but he stole every scene. He was very good. I like that Screech had some growth in this episode. He's not presented as just like the nincompoop, kind of the like helpless, you know, whatever. He has some growth. A pretty girl's attracted to him. It's nice to see that. I don't like to see him constantly get rejected by Lisa over and over and over again. It's like finally Screech gets a win in life. It was interesting to see his mom. We don't really see her in any other episodes, so to see his family is pretty interesting. Even though she's extremely one-dimensional, she likes Elvis and she's nice. It's kind of like I didn't touch on this, but to start the show, she kisses Screech goodbye. She kisses Zach goodbye, which if she's comfortable enough to kiss Zach goodbye, she should be familiar enough with Zach's bullshit that she knows he would be up to something when they're gone. So he must be pulling off some Leave It to Beaver stuff, Eddie Haskell stuff. He must be like, "Oh, good morning, Mrs. Powers. It's so lovely to see you." So Zach's definitely pulled the wool over her eyes. I like the house party. I like the scene where they slide in and do the risky business thing. There's no really turmoil between the gang, the group. I like that they're all they all have each other's back. That's really cool. A lot of friend groups aren't necessarily like that all the time. But even in this show, sometimes there's major turmoil, like when Zach was kissing Jesse behind Slater's back in the play. But they're all willing to help each other, and Jesse even goes out of her way to go on a date with Maxwell to help Screech out. So I like that. What's my least favorite part of this episode? I don't know that I like that Maxwell's so verbally abusive. I don't like that he's kissing Jesse without her consent. That's a little weird. It's amazing they don't touch on that at all. I know I raved about him earlier, but he did a great job, and he does steal the scenes. But he is like 33, 34 years old in this teen comedy. Maybe they could have cast somebody a little younger. So I'm not a big fan of that, but his acting and his comedic timing probably made up for it. I can see why they cast him. What else do I not like about this episode? Not a lot of Belding. Didn't use him much. They just use him in the flashback or the dream sequence where he's Elvis, and the bathroom scene where he catches Zach and Slater holding Maxwell up against the wall. Don't like that they didn't use the actual Beach Boys song, Barbara Ann. I'm not really sure why they didn't do that, because weren't the Beach Boys on Full House like all the time at this point? It's not like they were exactly tearing up the charts. Kokomo came out maybe a little bit earlier than this, but seems like maybe NBC could have shelled out some money to pay for that, for the rights to that song. What do I rate this episode? On a on a scale of 1 to 4, 4 being 4 buses missed, and 1 being 1 bus missed, I'm gonna say this is a 3. Not the best episode, but definitely not the worst. And I'm reviewing this for a reason. A lot of iconic moments, a lot of really funny gags, great character development by Screech. Solid 3. What do you guys rate this episode? Give me your feedback in your comments below. Let me know what you think. If you have a future episode you want us to review on /Trax Saturday mornings, you can write us at /Trax2020@gmail.com. You can request anything, movies for the other channel, TV shows for this channel. You can leave comments that we might address on the next news episode. Movie you want us to riff on /Trax, the riff show, anything you want to do. If you just want to ask us what we think about something or what kind of weather we like, it doesn't matter. /Trax2020@gmail.com. If you see the content and you like it and you want to be a part of it and you want to sponsor a future episode, same email. We're available on Cameo. I believe it's as low as $5. Sometimes it's even less. We have a Patreon. Check it out. It should be on the top or bottom of the screen. And upcoming stuff for the channel. So on the other channel, the /Trax Network with 80 Slasher Librarian, the main channel, we are going to be reviewing the classic horror movie Halloween 4. So that's coming up. And the next episode, boys and girls, of /Trax Saturday mornings, we're going back to Angel Grove. Josh and I are going to be covering the miniseries The Ninja Quest because it was requested so many times. So that's something to look forward to. I hope you guys have a great Saturday morning. What kind of cereal did you have when you watched this episode? Leave it in the comments below. What's your favorite breakfast cereal? What was your favorite breakfast cereal as a kid? Yeah, let's end this episode with a